Hey guys, today I want to talk about having your ducks in a row legally. Okay, a lot of guys that come over here, what happens is they get kind of lax. They think that the Philippines is never going to catch up with them. It's never going to. They can do whatever they want. They can just kind of go bypass the law or whatever, and it's never going to catch up with them. And nothing could be further from the truth if you're an expat. And I'm going to get into this a little bit. In the expat community here, there's always somebody in the expat community that always wants to burn somebody else. And I'm going to get into this a little bit today. There's always one or two people that will try to go after you and try to get you in trouble or whatever, or throw something out at the wrong place in front of some legal people or whatever, and they think they got you by the gonads. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And one thing I learned from past experience being in here, from being in here before, long time ago, that you have to have everything done legally with an expert, with an attorney, and don't always show your cards or any of your legal stuff to people around you too much, because it's none of their business. Don't let people in on your business too much around here in the Philippines, because if people know too much of your business, they're going to look for your weaknesses. It's almost like a battle. You know, if you run into the wrong person or you piss somebody off or something, they're going to look for those weaknesses and try to get you on those weaknesses. And what I learned was that by being ahead of those people all the time, you know, it has paid off, because I don't let everybody know my business as far as my legalities and stuff like that. You know, I tell people some things, like I'm legal here as far as being a vlogger and paying my taxes, stuff like that. But I don't go out and tell everybody that in the community or whatever, because you know what, it's none of their business. And some people, they think that he's not legal, he never did this here and he never did that there. No, trust me, I am fully 100% legal, I will say that. But I don't go around telling people too much of my business. People always are trying to, like a lot of people, they come here and you can tell when they're looking for trouble. Okay, and you're going to meet expats like this here, and you're also going to meet Filipinos like this too. You're going to meet people once in a while that they want to know too much of your business. Those are people that are dangerous, okay, here in the Philippines. They're dangerous because they're not good people. They're looking and digging for dirt on you, so that if they ever become enemies with you, or maybe they already are your enemy and you just don't know it, that you could, you know, you want to be careful of those people, because what's going to happen is they're going to burn you, or they're going to try to burn you. That's why you need to have a good attorney, stay legal all the time. And one thing I learned here is to have a good attorney here. And I have a fantastic attorney here for taking care of my documents and stuff like that. And for anything that I need to get legalized or whatever, she takes care of everything. And I also have a good accountant here. And, you know, a lot of people always ask me questions about my accountant and my attorney. My accountant, I kind of keep that to myself. My attorney, if somebody needed help or something like that, obviously I would share that with them or whatever. But eventually I'm going to be talking to this attorney to share with you guys, so I can get you guys services for whatever you guys need. You know, things come up here in the Philippines. You always need a great attorney. You always need a great accountant. And the attorney always is great to have on speed dial on your phone in case of an emergency. And the attorney that I have right now is fairly cheap, and I'm going to be talking about her in the future at some given time after I talk with her. But I want to put out there about this, that be careful, guys. Be extra careful when expats or people start wanting to learn your legal information. Don't give them that information. Don't tell them too much information. Don't tell them anything, because there's no need of them to know that. You know, you just need to have your ducks in a row when you're doing something, or if you're going to do a charitable. I've seen a lot of vloggers go down because they're asking for charitable to help run their charitable organization or whatever, but they're not legal. You know, and that's one thing I don't like getting involved with. I won't do that. I don't try to go out. I do things on my own with my own money, and that way there's no charity. You know what I'm saying? So there's no issue with that, because it's small donations, it's tiny donations. And, you know, a couple of people ask me to pass money along. I'll do that, you know, because it's not a big issue, because I keep receipts on it. So I don't have any issues with that. That way you're not on the hook by saying, oh, he's asking for money or whatever. I just tell people if they want to make a donation, they can make it to me and I'll give you the receipt. You know, so that's what I do. But a lot of people out there, I notice, they're building houses for people. They're they're giving people bags of rice and stuff like that, and they're asking for money on their vlogs, and they're asking for the super chats, or they're asking for Patreons, things like that. And in the Philippines, there's laws for that, and you have to be registered as a charity, okay? And that's why you don't see none of that stuff on my channel. But I've been watching some of these other channels, and I've watched people get in trouble in the past for this stuff, and then they've become legal afterwards, which is great, because that's the way you should be. You need to be legal here for anything that you do here. You want to make sure with your attorney, hey, can I do this, or do I have to register? What documentation do I got to get? How do I do this? Do I have to do this with you? Can I use you as my partner or whatever? Because some guys that are single here, they don't want to put their girlfriends on the documentation for starting a business or a charity or whatever, okay? So you can do it with your attorney sometimes. Sometimes your attorney will kind of become like your partner if you get a good attorney, because they're going to be representing you 100%. And, you know, you can use that to your advantage, because you have a good attorney helping you run your charity or what have you. And some attorneys will do that. You just got to talk to them. Some will not, okay? And having that attorney, though, let me tell you, it's going to be a lifesaver here, because if you ever get called on the carpet by somebody, and there's always this expat. I was just watching the other day, one of the vloggers, I guess, somebody turned him in for something at the BI, which is a bunch of bunk. Because I've seen the guy he mentioned the name, and he mentioned that some actor's name, and that person has been around for quite a while, you know what I mean? And I've seen that name before, and they keep on, these people keep turning up out of nowhere, turning people in for things, and I honestly believe that most of the vloggers around here they're nothing. You know what I mean? I think in their heads they're bigger than what they think they are. You know what I mean? And I don't think that these people realize that most of the stuff that people turn you in on would not hold up in a Philippine court. It just doesn't. Because there are trolls out there that are just trying to get you mad, get you angry, and get you showing that on your show or whatever. I've had it happen to me. And that's why it's good to have an attorney, so you can call up the attorney and say, hey, do I have to worry about this? You know, and they'll tell you, well, did you do anything wrong? Did you do this? You know, you're following everything that I'm telling you to do, so you're okay, Steve. Don't worry about it. And that's why it's great to have that attorney on your side, so you can sit and talk to that attorney. Whenever you need to talk to that attorney, you can call them up and say, hey, so-and-so, listen, I got this happening to me right now. What should I be worried about? Oh, you don't have to worry, Steve. You know, you took care of all that. That's the thing that you need to make sure that you take care of everything. Call the attorney to check if you think you might run into trouble. People are under this assumption here that in the Philippines, the cost of an attorney is going to cost you the same as it does back in the U.S., and it doesn't. It doesn't cost you that much over here. It really doesn't cost that much. It's actually fairly reasonable and cheap to just sit down and talk with an attorney, because most of the time that you talk with an attorney, they're going to tell you whether you need to do something or not, and if you do it, you're all set. And I mean, for me, I've used my accountant several times. I've used the attorney before to talk to them, and every time it's turned out great. You know, but be wary of people out there, especially if you're going to become a vlogger or something like that. Be careful of people. Be careful of friends you make and people you meet, because sometimes the best people that I've met in the Philippines are the Filipinos. Okay? Not to say that I don't love my expat group. We have a fantastic expat group here. Fantastic. But we've had a couple of deadbeats show up in here too. You know, and that happens in any group. It's going to happen. You get these people from the United States or, Westerners that come in here, and some of them, they're not worth their weight in salt. They're just not. They're just not good people. They have problems. They have all kinds of issues that they carry with them. They took their baggage here, let's say it that way. They took their baggage here, and then they unpacked their baggage here and let it loose. And they loosed it on everybody around them. And that happens quite often here. And I think if we let those people bother us, you know what? Then it gets underneath your skin, and it makes you miserable here as an expat and as a retiree. You know, when you meet somebody like that, just lose them. Get rid of them. Don't let them into your life anymore. And some of these people will, even after they're out of your life and you haven't even contacted them or anything, sometimes they'll do something to you just to piss you off even more. And they'll wait a month or two. I've had that happen too. Trust me on this. You know, it can happen to you. Make sure you're safe and ready for all this stuff. Make sure that you're protected. Make sure that you have a good attorney. Make sure you have good accountants. Make sure you do things that you're supposed to do legally here in the Philippines. Because if you don't do it legally, that way there it gives them a in to bother you more, because they can go say, hey, I know a way I can get at him. I can report him on this, or I can report him on that. You know, and if you have the attorney, you're golden. Because everything that I do, everything I think that might need some legal assistance on, I'll call the attorney, I'll ask her, or I look it up myself, I do the homework on it. That way there, you don't give these people a open door to your house to wreak havoc in your house. And I don't mean literally your house, I'm talking about your legal house. You make sure you have all your ducks in a row, and you'll be golden. We're getting some thunder here rolling through in the background. But I just want to make sure that everybody's safe out there as an expat. If there's any advice that I can give you in the Philippines that's important, this one's going to be the most important. And keep in mind, if you can't afford an attorney over here to do things legally, then you probably shouldn't be here. Because you know what? You are going to at some time run into a legal issue, whether it be with a girl, a girlfriend, an expat, a neighbor, or something. At some point in your life, you're going to need an attorney or what have you. You know, and at some point, after I talk to this attorney, I'm going to ask her if she would be willing to work with other expats. And I'm sure she would be. And she's cheap, she's reasonable, and she's decent. Okay, so I want to make sure that you guys out there get a good attorney. And I'm going to see if I can find some other attorneys in the future too. And I want you to be aware of this, because I'm going to say this outright too, is this, that I don't get any kickbacks from these people that I send people to. I get nothing from these people. I do this because I know that people need this, okay? I don't make a nickel off this attorney. She doesn't give me a percentage. She's not giving me any money, you know, and the same goes for anybody else that I push you towards, like a furniture person. I don't get any money out of it. If it's an AC person, I have a lot of people calling me up asking me, hey Steve, can you give me some advice on having furniture made, or can you have, you know, what about an AC guy? Can you recommend something? I have people for all this stuff. I don't make a nickel off of those people. I help them because they're good Filipino people. They're honest, and they're not going to take advantage of you. And that's why I push you that way. I push you in a good direction, you know. But make sure, guys, remember, stay legal with everything. Make sure that you get all your ducks in a row. Make sure you know the law. Make sure you talk to an attorney. If you think you're getting into something might be a little bit iffy or something like that, talk to an attorney first, because there's a lot of false things going around from vloggers too out there, that you need to sit down with an attorney. Because I hear people talking about all kinds of stuff like they're armchair attorneys, these vloggers, and they're wrong on some of the crap that they're passing out there. And I'm like, no, nothing could be further from the truth than what you're saying. And I've heard probably like about 10 vloggers talk about one subject one time, and I was like that's just wrong. It's wrong information. That's not true. It's, you know, that they were telling people that people can get arrested, they're gonna get and go to jail for this and this, and I'm like, man, that's false information. It's a bunch of bull, you know. And you guys will know what I'm talking about sometimes when you're watching some of these vlogs, and if you know Philippine law, or if you read up on things, you'll know the truth, and you'll know that what's the truth, fact from fiction. And like I said, talk to an attorney. That way there you're getting the facts straight from the attorney's mouth. And these attorneys are cheap enough where you can sit and talk with them for like an hour, and it's probably going to cost you like $40 or $30 or something like that. At least you get an hour of time with them. You can chew their ear off and have all your questions answered, all the stuff that you've heard from vloggers and stuff like that, and find out whether it's real or faked. Fact from fiction. You'll know it. You'll have the answers. Anyway, guys, take care. Stay legal. God bless, guys.